Okay, they are saying, they say, I'm lawyers, ne?
Yeah.
They've got cash. It's it is something that is out there. They say lawyers have got money. So today, I want to know, where do you guys get the money? Right? Those are some of the questions I want to know, right? But also, somebody sitting at home, they want to know.
Yeah.
If I were to pursue this legal, if I want to be a legal practitioner, where do I start, right? And questions such as, how do you become a judge? Those are some of the questions that we will explore.
Yeah.
And then some of the questions that I want us to explore are questions such as, how do you own your own legal firm?
Okay.
I don't have a degree or anything, any certificate in legal, in the legal field. Can I have my own legal firm where it says, this is my own legal firm? Is it possible? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But before, are you a lawyer to begin with?
Yes, I am a lawyer. I'm an admitted legal practitioner practicing as an attorney under the name and style of Smith Sugulam Incorporated.
Is that your legal firm?
That's my legal firm.
Oh, you see, I like the fact that I'm talking to somebody who owns a legal firm. But I would assume you needed qualifications for you to even own or have your own legal firm.
Correct, yeah. Look, I possess an LLB degree. I've got an LLM, that is a master's degree in international commercial law. My journey, I mean, I go through every journey that every person has gone through, at least insofar as high school education is concerned. So I matriculated. After matriculating, I enrolled for an LLB degree. An LLB degree took me 4 years to complete. Thereafter, I immediately enrolled for my master's degree, which is supposed to be a 2-year program. You can finish it within a year. And then, well, I'm going to tell you about mine, but you don't necessarily have to follow the same journey. So I'll show you that there's like different ways that you could approach it. Then after my master's degree, I did what is known as articles of clerkship. So articles of clerkship, you go out there and you job hunt for a firm, a law firm, that will give you some practical legal training. And what that law firm does is that for 2 years, you are under that firm and you are still being trained, but practically. So I'm no longer just dealing with matters in the abstract, so to say, but I'm dealing with concrete, actual matters. And I get paid for that for a period of up 2 years. After 6 months of doing articles, I become eligible to write what is known as board examinations, right?
Okay.
And those board examinations are a prerequisite to becoming admitted as an attorney.
Okay.
So what you do is it's 4 excruciatingly painful board examinations. Ganami, there's we do what is known as procedure. There's ethics and legal drafting. There's accounting and bookkeeping, and then there's deceased estates. Those are the 4 board examinations. The ones that were tough for me was accounting, because I'm just not good with numbers, unless if it's like numbers that are entering into your bank account, of course. As well as, which one did I fail? Yeah, I failed accounting. I got like 30% for accounting, and I got about 30% as well for ethics. So they know it as ethics. Now you're going to think, hey, you failed ethics, so that means you are
Exactly. I was going to be like, my man,
unethical.
you can't fail. Look, something that has to do with morals.
Mfana. And that paper is not really, it has nothing to do with morals. Told there's just like a 10 question mark on morals. The rest of it it's a lot of commercial drafting agreements, drafting clauses within an agreement, and interpretation and all of those type of things, which is not an easy thing.
Okay.
So that's the journey. So after you write those 4 and you pass them, so you get opportunities even after you failed. You get an opportunity to rewrite again. There's like, they write them around, I think there's a period in March every year, as well as August. So every year there's like 2 sittings for these board examinations. After you pass the board examinations, you then complete your articles, whatever period is remaining. That's if you have not yet been done with your articles, which I said, remember, are 2 years. Then you bring a formal court application. So every time you hear people going to court and there's applications like normally, whether you're suing someone and what's or not, you need to bring an application as well as a candidate attorney. So you bring an application, it gets lodged with the legal practice counsel. They scrutinize that application, and then if they are happy, they'll say, "Sharp, we're good. We're not going to object," because they're the guys who are going to enroll you onto the list of legal practitioners if you become admitted. So you don't want them objecting to your application. They're your governing body, basically. And so you then take this application, you issue it at court, you get a date allocated, you get a lawyer who is already practicing to go and move this application on your behalf. So just like ordinarily how anybody else would procure the services of a lawyer. So they'll go and move that application. Their job is to convince two judges that you have been adequately trained, you have the requisite experience, you are fit and proper to be admitted into this noble profession of legal practitioners.
Can I
Yeah.
stop you there? I like the way you're explaining it. I will have less questions. However, you said that you have multiple times. Look, you are given multiple times to if you fail these board exams. How many times?
Well, it depends. I mean, you have. I don't know, for as long as it takes.
Okay,
There's obviously a difference because now we've changed over to the Legal Practice Act. Before you had the Attorneys Act and the Advocates Act. We had like two different acts, but now
Okay.
we've got one act that governs everybody. So under the old dispensation, which is before 2019, so if you had registered your articles before 2019, unfortunately, there are now limitations because the law says that you have about, I think, 3 years, and I just have to double check that, but I think you have 3 years from the date that the new act came to be to finish any outstanding board examinations. And if you don't, then you are disqualified. And it's a problem. We're still fighting it. I've got one matter currently that, where I'm assisting somebody where this thing is being fought. But if you are from 2019 going forward, you have time, in perpetuity to continue and give it a try. The only issue that you might have is that remember that the company that has hired you hires you for 2 years. And that's a contract where they say to you that we are going to keep you and pay you for 2 years. And there's a competition because you're not the only one that's been hired. And you can only be kept in that company as an attorney after you've been admitted. So if it takes you too long and your contract of employment then runs out, then you might lose your employment. So you can still have opportunities to keep writing your board examinations, but you might now have lost, your employment
Fair,
opportunity.
makes sense. But then let's continue then.
Yeah.
So we last spoke about.
Yeah, so what I was saying to you then is that after they have to convince the two judges that you're fit and proper, you've passed, you've been adequately trained. If the judges are convinced, they're happy, there's no one that has opposed your application, it's a court order. So it's not the legal practice counsel or anybody else that admits you as a legal practitioner. It's a court order, and which is treated like any other court order. You can be found in contempt of a court order, if you are to be removed as an attorney or an advocate for that matter, because the process is similar. It's a court order that will have to be brought because now this is an order of court which is binding on everybody. The court says that you must be admitted as an attorney. You must now be admitted as an attorney. So that's
After you have done the convincing.
Yeah, after you've done the convincing.
It is difficult. Because I saw it on one of your status, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it was 30 seconds, so I couldn't see everything. But I kind of got an idea. Like, this is how they got admitted.
And I think that answers the thing that you saw it in a 30-second status explains that it's not a difficult task to convince if you've done your work properly and your papers are in order.
Okay.
The issue comes in when you have someone objecting to your application, be it a civil rights organization or an individual or your colleagues or somebody that feels that no, you're not fit and proper. Or you don't represent the legal profession in a professional manner, as the case might be, and then they come through and they object. And we've had a couple of those. In fact, there was one case that was trending. I think it was last year October, and it's unfortunate because this is a matter that involves somebody that I studied with, and that I know from varsity. And somebody objected to the application. And the essence of their objection was that when you are a candidate, or at least one of the stuff that was complained about is that when you are doing your articles, you're not allowed to do anything else because it's seen as a period of training where you must only concentrate on being trained. So you cannot draw remuneration from anywhere else, at least not without first having received the consent of the legal practice counsel.
Oh, okay.
And I think there were certain allegations that he had been engaged in other activities whilst he was doing his articles of clerkship. And as a result, he contravened one or two of the rules of the legal practice council. And then someone objected to his admission, including the legal practice council, I believe. And they were successful, and his application was dismissed. Unfortunately, he was not admitted. And this is after all these years of studying and doing articles.
The application was dismissed.
Correct.
The dismissal of the application, does it mean that it's done and dusted with your career?
Yeah.
You cannot have a second opportunity somehow, somewhere. Maybe I'll give an example.
Yeah.
If one gets sentenced, for me, the general understanding that I have about correctional service is that, in fact, the police will arrest you, then take you to a court that is supposed to be independent. And then this court is supposed to give you a punishment if it finds you guilty of a crime.
Yeah.
And the purpose of them finding you guilty is to say, okay, we find you guilty. Here is this. We are giving you this period, probably 10 years. They will take you to a department called correctional service. Their sole purpose, according to me, is that they are to help you self-correct or something like that.
Rehabilitation.
Exactly. So that tells me, Guti, there is some sort of a that word, English.
Rehabilitation.
Yes. So it tells me, Guti, there's always a second chance. Yes, there are consequences, but there's always a second chance. In this application, I'm lost.
Look, of course, and I've not really sat down to look at this thing and what his different options might be, but I'm sure that there are certain options that could still, whether if it means that he must redo his articles or what's or not, start afresh the journey of articles and then rewrite his board. There must be a way. But you'd imagine people get demotivated. I mean, it's 4 years. It's a long time to be studying, and then 2 years. Articles are not
6 years.
Child's play. Hey,
That's 6 years.
And then you bring that application and the back and forth. Now to think I must go and redo my
No
articles
wonder you guys
again.
have got a lot of money. Because according to us, the general, we believe that lawyers, doctors have money. Now, I saw something there. You guys almost spend the whole, almost similar years.
Yes, before qualifying. Ne?
Exactly. No wonder. But tell me something. Are we wrong to say lawyers have got money? Are we wrong?
Some lawyers have money, some lawyers don't have money, Bongani. And it depends, again, which field you're practicing in, your level of experience. And it takes a while before you become established in the legal fraternity. Yes, of course, we've seen various successful lawyers. It is a rewarding career. There's absolutely no doubt about that. If you work hard and you've got the right type of instructions, you've got the lucrative work, if you hit it big in law and, you are on the right path, you certainly are going to make a lot of money.
So you agree. You guys, no, it's fine. Okay, fine. Tell me something, because somebody sitting at home they will be like, okay, fine. I want to be a lawyer. What's this right path?
I'd advise young people or anybody, well, you don't have to be young. If you want to practice law for purposes of making money, commercial law is the way to go.
Wait a minute. Here's the question then. How many, can I call it faculty within law? I don't know.
Disciplines.
Yeah, within
or areas of practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because now, when you say commercial law, I'm inclined to say, there's criminal law, there's commercial law. Can you please break
There are
it down
many
for me?
fields. There are numerous fields. There are different
Within
problems.
the law faculty?
Yeah, I mean, you could talk now. We're sitting in a studio that's media law. There's laws governing, what type of stuff we discuss, how we discuss it, and what's that? There's environmental law, there's insurance law, there's criminal law, there's family law. They're vast. Maritime law. It's too vast. Some fields I might not even know of. There's probably some law fields out there and areas of practice that I may not even have ever heard of. So yeah.
Okay, so wait. So you're saying to someone who wants to pursue this legal thing, for money purposes, commercial law,
Yeah, commercial law.
how
I'd say so.
expensive is it to pursue that?
No, it's the same. I
Same
mean,
thing.
you go through the same thing. You'll study your LLB.
Yes.
Commercial law is going to be one of the modules there, either in the form of corporate commercial law, business law. It's going to be one of the modules that you do. What you do is that when you're studying your LLB, depending on which institution you go to, they are different. Wonder what do we call them when we're in the university modules, ne?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's different modules that you would have. Focus on all the rest, pass. But if you want to venture into that area that is lucrative, and you're looking at commercial law, yes, there's others that I'm not mentioning. I mean, which also have commercial aspects to them, whether you go maritime law or you go insurance law or environmental law, which is now becoming also the next big thing. We know that the world is moving towards that
Yes,
direction
the
of
green what?
all of those type of things. Yeah. So you concentrate on that module, and maybe that should also influence because at some point you have to figure out what you're going to specialize in. And you specialize either by doing your master's degree. I did my master's degree in international commercial law. So that's already showing that after having done all these modules, I find a certain interest in international commercial law, and I'm more inclined towards that direction. And when I start looking at different firms that I want to expose myself to then get practical legal training, I start concentrating on those firms that are focused mainly on corporate and commercial law. If you are somebody that loves seeing people divorce, then you want to go and find a firm that specializes in family law. If you are somebody that enjoys criminal law and you're so excited at the prospects of being a defense attorney, a defense advocate, or defense team, then you want to find a firm that specializes in that. So that's how you then choose, where you eventually find yourself in.
If I understand you very well, you are saying you get a minimum degree. From there, just like being a doctor,
Yeah.
you get a minimum degree.
Yeah.
From there, you start specializing. Okay, it's just loud and clear.
Correct. And you can change. So you're not really forced to. That's the beauty of studying law. You're constantly growing. There's new fields that are constantly coming up. And today I can be a commercial lawyer. Tomorrow I decide that I want to specialize in something else or start studying in a different field. There's so many things. I mean, like now, practitioners that are flourishing are operating in the business rescue and liquidation spaces. At some point in time, there were practitioners that were flourishing in mergers and acquisitions as time goes. So you don't want to box yourself. You must always leave room to grow. But the long and short of it is that you certainly will need your LLB. So there's different fields. And to the young person who's still not young, I keep saying young, but I don't want to exclude other people because you don't have to be young to go and study the law.
That's true.
There's BA law, it's BCom law. BCom law is obviously more on the commerce side. But for you to practice, you must have an LLB. So whether you start with BA or you start with BCom, if you want to venture into practice, you are going to have to do your LLB. Whether you want to venture into practice as an attorney, you want to venture in practice as an advocate, or you want to venture into practice as a state prosecutor or a state advocate, you are going to have to get an LLB. So at some point in time, you must study for your LLB. Get that LLB. After your LLB, if you want to become an attorney, you do articles. If you want to become an advocate, you do pupillage. That is a year. Articles is a paid program for 2 years, like I mentioned earlier. Pupillage, on the other hand, is not paid. It's 1 year. You have a mentor who is already an advocate. It cannot be a senior advocate, so it must be a junior advocate that mentors you. You also have to write board examinations. You also have to pass those board examinations. After the board examinations, you also have to bring an application to court, lodge that application with the legal practice counsel, get a lawyer who is already practicing to come and represent you and convince the two judges that you are fit and proper to be introduced into this noble, as they say, profession.
Okay, so tell me something then. Are you an advocate?
No, I'm practicing as an attorney. So I'm a partner at Smith Sugulam Incorporated.
But I'm saying by qualification, can I be an advocate by qualification?
Yeah.
And not practice as an advocate, but practice as an
Yeah,
attorney?
you certainly could do that. So you've got the bar and you've got the sidebar. So you've got you could certainly get admitted as an advocate and then practice as an attorney, or you could get admitted as an attorney, go and do your pupillage and get admitted as an advocate. In fact, we have well, preferably, actually, if you want to go and practice as an advocate, and this was the case before and remains predominantly still the case. So this is how it works. And I love using the Oscar Pistorius case as an example.
Okay.
The attorney is more of an administrative role. So you play more of an administrative role. You are involved in the day-to-day life of your client. So I meet with the client. I advise the client on their business transactions. I'm drafting their agreements. I'm advising them, corporately and what's or not. One day, client comes to me and says, "Listen, I've been arrested. They say I've shot my girlfriend. My girlfriend was in the bathroom, and this is what happened. And now they're saying that I murdered her, and they want to charge me for murder." He phones me as his attorney. And I say to him, "Look, I've got right of appearance. I appear in courts. I try to appear as often as I can, but it's not what I find particular interest in. And it does not benefit me monetarily, the more so, to always be in court. I could spend that time in my office doing commercial work and be making more money and being more productive." Then there are guys out there who thrive in court.
Okay.
These are orators,
There's one or two, three prominent ones
that you're already
who
thinking
comes
about.
to my mind.
And they
love
and
this
they
thing.
love court, and they're born for the court. They know the court in and out. They'll tell you that this court building that you're seeing with the white walls, behind that white wall is silver paint, and behind the silver is the gold. That's how long I've been here.
You're not that guy.
I'm not that guy.
You are the guy that bring all the paperwork.
That's me. So I do
And
all the paperwork.
every single transaction.
100%. And you've got it on point. So now what do I do is that when you phone me and I say, man, you know what? I certainly could represent you. I could go and appear in court for you. But these are serious charges. And we need somebody that knows the court system, from the back of his hand. And I know a guy. And I'm like, let me phone counsel, which is the advocate, Barry Roo. Amazing guy. Let me phone him for you. And then I become his client. So this is how it works now. So
break it down for me. I'm interested.
So you are my client, right? As the accused. And I'm your lawyer. I'm your attorney. When I introduce Barry Roo is not reporting. It does not take instructions from you. He takes instructions from me.
Oh.
So I become what is known as the middleman. And it's a very important role to play, whether from a strategizing point of view. Some people have criticized it and said, no, it's a duplication of fees, it's a duplication of activities. It actually isn't, because the role that I will play, there's a role that I play as an attorney in that, in those court processes, in briefing this guy, making sure that he's adequately briefed, he understands the matter very well, strategically that we're moving towards the same direction. And also, what I have that he doesn't have is that I'm accountable to you as the client, because I have a trust account. And when I invoice you or when you make payment of monies, they coming into my trust account. And there are heavy obligations that lie on me, that he won't have, because he doesn't have the certificate that allows him to operate a trust account. And I'm going to touch on that shortly, because it's changed a little bit now, under the new act. So then I get to do the administration. I take instructions from you. I'll charge you, by the way, and that's where it becomes uncomfortable for many, that how almost now I'm sitting with the advocate, I'm sitting with my attorney, and my attorney is charging me 2,000 rand. My advocate is also charging me 2,000 rand. They're both sitting in this meeting. Why can't I just have one of them? Why do I need two of them? Good questions to ask. But I tell you, and when you run big matters, especially complex matters, it's very important to have a
Like the
strong
arms
legal
deal.
team. That's the arms
Like the
deal.
arms deals,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's one of the most complicated matter we currently have.
Yeah, and there are many others, Bongani. You'd find that in a matter of that nature, one legal team may constitute as much as maybe 4 or 5 attorneys on it, and maybe 3 advocates on it, all of them charging hourly rates.
Wait. You are reminding me something. In the case of MK, I think was it the deregistration and the trademark?
Yeah.
I saw 2 advocates there. I saw Advocate Dalimpov. I saw Advocate Skakan. And I'm like, and at one of them, there's another lady that was working with Advocate Dalimpov as well. So you mean behind that there was probably 2 or more attorneys
Definitely.
that we did not see?
That you'd not have seen, and those are the ones that brief the counsel. So you'd have the senior counsel, you'd have a junior counsel. Sometimes you may have 1 senior counsel, 2 junior and 2 junior counsels, and then a team of attorneys, 3 or 4 attorneys on a matter, and all of them playing a very key role in there. One of them, even if it's a candidate attorney, if one of them does not play the role that they need to play in there, the entire case might fall apart. So everybody has a duty that is allocated to them. And in those huge complex matters, everybody understands the importance of having the right legal team. It doesn't come cheap. So yeah, so that's it. So that's the difference between an advocate and an attorney. So what I was saying is that it's now changed. So previously, an advocate could only get instructions from an attorney. But now the law allows an advocate to get instructions directly from the public. But for you to do that, you must have a fidelity certificate. And you must then operate a trust account so that those clients and those members of the public that you are consulting with directly, if they make money into your trust account, that trust account can be subjected to the scrutiny that the attorney's trust accounts are also subjected to ensure that the members of the public are protected. Now, advocates don't like
okay.
that. So usually, like I say to you, that you must be cut from the fabric that interests you to do this type of thing, because counsel just wants to, you know what, I want my papers ready. I want to appear in court and I want to argue in court. This administrative burden, I'm not interested in it. So notwithstanding that we have this change now, there's still many advocates that don't want that because they don't want to be running trust accounts. They don't want to be subjected to scrutiny by the LPC and auditing mechanisms and all of those other things, or be accounting to clients directly, because clients can be a nightmare to deal with. You know, it takes a great deal of work to be able to manage a client, and attorneys are well trained to do that, and that's something that they've become used to. The reason why we had this thing now that allows advocates to go in directly to the members of the public, I'm not too sure that it answers the problem, because this was the problem. The issue that we had was we have people that cannot make it. They're not getting articles into these lucrative law firms, right? Commercial law firms, be it the big 5 law firms or these business-oriented law firms. Students are coming from varsity and they're not getting articles. So the legal field is become saturated, and it seems as though, particularly amongst it, not that it seems, that is the case. There are a lot of black graduates that are coming in, right, into the profession, but they're not getting articles. Because they're not getting articles, they then opt for the pupillage route. So if it were up to them, they would rather do articles, get paid for 2 years, and get trained properly. But now, because they're not getting those articles from these fancy law firms, they then go and do pupillage. So they'll find a family member or someone who is already an advocate and say, can I please just do pupillage under you? They do pupillage for a year. They become admitted as advocates. But now here's a problem. Now that they're admitted advocates, they can only get instructions from attorneys, but they don't know attorneys. They don't know attorneys that can give them good work, that can give them good instructions. So they are not getting that work still. So now you've got all of these admitted advocates that are not getting instructions from attorneys. They now have the title of advocate, but things are not going well for them. So then the lawmakers thought, how about we then allow them to go and engage directly with members of the public? I'm not too sure that answers the problem though, because the lucrative instructions are still not seated with those members of the public that these people would have access to.
Okay, guys, listen. I'm interested. I'm in pursuit of something. I call it. It's a passion to me. I want to bring everyone who has something to teach or has something for you. So if you are that one or that person, it doesn't matter whether you are sitting in whatever boardroom. It doesn't matter. Whatever business you own, you just have to email me. The email will be on your link. I'm interested to find people who are also owning or this or into this franchise. We call it garage in South Africa. By the way, it's not garage, petrol garage. But even if it's just, even if it's whether you're in fried what franchise, I don't care. But I'm also in pursuit of those guys as well. So I'm gonna be bringing a lot of people who are pursuing different things in life, either business or academics. The purpose of this is to educate is to educate people about each and every single sphere of whether it's law, whether it's business, whether it's whatever. But the bottom line is that somebody who's sitting at home needs to find this interview interesting and needs to find these interviews educational, because the purpose of this channel is to educate. Now, I'm interested to. This is my question, right? Can you kindly explain the importance of having a lawyer? How important it is for one to have a lawyer? Now, I'll give this scenario, right? There's a lady whom I know. We are recording in her studio. She hired, or she was paying lawyers from one of these banks, right? Now, in her story that I followed on YouTube, she said, okay, one day I encountered a situation. And these lawyers were like, no, Tina, that's not our field. Go and find others. Mind you, when she's paying monthly, she's like, I'm covered. You touch me, they will deal with you. Month end, when the problem came, they were like, no, that's not basically our thing. Go and find another one. What's your take?
Well,
What's the importance of having a lawyer, and how do I choose the right lawyer for me?
okay. You've already answered the first question. It's important. The importance of having a lawyer is when the situation comes. Because you say she's been paying, and then the situation came, or the problem, when the problem arrives. It's important to have a lawyer in case a problem arises, and it's a legal problem that requires legal thinking and legal assistance. You've got the right to represent yourself. There are different courts. Some courts don't allow lawyers, or certain sittings. The small claims court does not allow lawyers. I think, depending on the nature of the dispute, CCMA conciliation stage does not require lawyers. Disciplinary hearings, most disciplinary hearings internally at work, unless the matter is complex, they will tell you that you need to you must be represented by a union or a fellow employee, and only if the matter is complex can the union then appoint a lawyer, or if you motivate to the chairperson, then a lawyer can be appointed. If you work for the South African Police Service, for instance, Regulation 11.3 has the same thing. It's either you bring in a trade union or a fellow employee, and only if the matter is complex or unless the union elects to appoint a lawyer or the chairperson of the disciplinary hearing.
It will be beneficial if my co-worker is in, even if they are not practicing yet, but they have the legal qualifications, so it will be beneficial for me. But continue.
Yeah. So the benefit of having somebody that is properly trained is that, look, we go through rigorous training, to become a lawyer. The studying, it's a great deal of studying. You must be cut out for it. The mind, the law firm that you find yourself in, that amount of training is beneficial to the client at the end of the day. So, and that's what's important, because the way that you'd approach a legal matter is very much different from how I would approach it. Why? Because I've got the legal mind. I've been trained to think like a legal mind. I've been trained to interpret like a legal mind. I've been trained to research like a legal mind. I've been trained to formulate my papers like a legal mind. I know how to use precedent. I know what to look out for when I'm advising you, whether it's a transaction or what's or not. I know how to look out for loopholes. I know how to better protect you and tell you that, this case has been studied. These are the clauses before in a matter of this nature. So I would advise you to approach this thing this way. And because this is what I do on a daily basis, I'm better equipped to assist you and provide you guidance and proper legal advice on it, because you might only, it's your one criminal matter. For instance, I'll use criminal law as a way of example. It's your only criminal matter. You've never been involved in a criminal matter before. You've never been arrested. You've never been arraigned before a magistrate. Whereas a lawyer, the lawyer that is representing you, for them, you are just one of 1,000. This is something that they've become accustomed to. So whereas you can represent yourself, it is not recommended that you do that. And I know that not everybody can afford a lawyer. I'm very pro, rendering access to the indigent so that they get access to justice, because it's better for you to be represented. Even if you can't afford, rather exhaust all the mechanisms to try and get legal representation as opposed to just going ahead and representing yourself.
I'll tell you why. I think I concur with you. I've been following the case of Senzo Mayo.
Yeah.
There's one thing I've noticed. I kind of feel like if these guys did not have lawyers, I wonder what would have been the situation. Yeah. To me, observing that case, I kind of realized that, you know what, a lawyer is there to look out for your rights within the Constitution.
Yeah.
And I've grown to appreciate lawyers. In fact, if ever that case taught me, is the importance of lawyers.
Oh, thank you so much.
I've grown to appreciate lawyers.
Our importance.
No. I know. I guys, 5 stars. I've grown to appreciate that. You know what? You need these people.
Especially, Bongani, if you're going to be litigating in the High Court. That's a creature and a half to litigate in. Hey, it's not black and white in there. You don't just take your thoughts and think that I'll just speak as and when I want and just get my point across in the fashion that I want. No, we are like I said, we're a professional field, and we're very. It's a profession that we are known as a profession, a noble profession for that matter. We're highly regulated. You don't just rock up in court. There's a way that you dress. There's a way that you address the court. You don't just, even seating arrangements, you don't just sit wherever you want, right? There are allocations, and we are trained from varsity. When by the first time that you walk into court, depending on who you are representing, you know very well where you're going to sit, and there's no argument about that. And if there are certain people that are of a certain seniority, there are people that will always be allowed to speak before you. If they are having other matters and you are in the same court. We have rules, right? There are rules of court. So there's what is known as the substantive law, and there's what is known as the objective law. So substantive is what, right? What. And most people know the what. You know your rights. Your rights are the what, right? I have the right to freedom of speech, for instance. We say I've got a right to freedom of speech. That is a what. That is your right. That the question is when you get to the other side, the adjective rather, the how. So you can know what I am entitled to, but how am I entitled to it? And that's what differentiates between an ordinary lawyer and a great lawyer, because every lawyer knows what, but the best lawyers know how. Because you can rock up into court knowing the what. You can rock up to court with all the facts and knowing the matter. I know this is the evidence and what's on, but do you know how to lead evidence? Do you know how to bring an application?
Oh, wait.
Do you know?
Wait. It brings me to this question. Observing lawyers. I cannot tell. Look, I've actually realized that there are people, in my understanding, I kind of feel like you are not called to be there. Like, the way they argue, the way they go about everything, you kind of feel like, when maybe you should have been a farmer, not this one. You know, I'm telling you,
I won't comment on that.
listen to me. There are lawyers, even when they, I'm not going to mention names, but
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody, I was like, you see, this lawyer has done the same thing that this lawyer did. But the difference between the two lawyers is how they went about this. Same
Yeah.
matter.
How?
Same.
And how is imperative because and the how is regulated by rules. So rules will tell you how. The rules will tell you how to bring an application. They'll give you time frames. They'll tell you how do I lead evidence? How do you ask questions? And those are what are known as the uniform rules of court. And when you have time and you're suffering from insomnia, just go online and type uniform rules of court. Every high court uses the same uniform rules. And if you can get to appreciate the how, your primary source of the how is the rules. Your primary source of the what is your legislation, your acts and whatsoever. That tells you what you are entitled to. And many people know the acts, but not many people know the rules. And the rules, over and above the rules, you also have practice directives. So the courts issue practice directives. And they'll tell you that in our courts, they'll tell you, for instance, let me use one example. Let's say if you wish to lead an expert, in a matter, be it a criminal trial or a civil trial, if you want to lead an expert, there must be a witness statement that must first come from that expert, which sets out the nature of the evidence that the expert is going to give, their qualifications, in just a summary of what they're going to give. That expert evidence or that summary or statement must be furnished to both parties and filed or delivered, to the court within a certain time frame, or they'll say 10 days before the matter is set down for trial. You don't do that and you just rock up with your expert on the day. It doesn't matter that he's an expert and he knows what he's supposed to say and he knows the what. The fact that you have not followed the how might actually result in your expert evidence not even being listened to. And I'm using that loosely as a rule. I don't think that the rule says that insofar as expert witnesses are concerned, but that's the importance of how. And even practice directives will tell that in this court, this is how we do things. So you can come with your what. And it is different. Like, I'll give you one example. In the high court generally, whether it's the high court or the magistrate's court, if I bring an application, say I'm suing you, and I bring an application and I call the sheriff to serve it on you, you have a period of about 10 days to file an intention to oppose that application. After 10 days of filing that, you are afforded another, say, 20 days, and I'm using these periods loosely. You are afforded another 20 days within which to file your affidavit, disputing what I have said in my main affidavit. That's what generally happens. But when you go to Mpumalanga, the process is different. Mpumalanga does not say these days become automatic. It says that from the day that you file your intention to oppose, the parties must then come together and have a conference where they then agree on the days that they're going to be using to exchange papers. And that's a practice directive that they have in that court. So if I come with my mentality from Jersey, it's not going to work that
What
side.
you are saying is like government, for instance. You may go to Cape Town.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, no, in Cape Town, we do this. And when you get to Cape Town, you say, our bylaws says you can't do this.
100. Yeah. And you must now stick to that bylaw, because if you don't, then you're in trouble. You're not going to be able to achieve whatever it is that you initially wanted to achieve. So that's how rules work. And they're important.
Here's another one again. I'm having a small business, right?
Yeah.
I don't have problems, at least not at the moment. But I am preparing for future. How do I afford you? I don't want to go the ones we get for free, right? I want to have my special lawyer, but I want to pay you, or I want to find a way of paying you so that when those days, you know what I'm saying, happens, you and I, already have that relationship. So you don't get to charge me exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah.
So much so that I cannot even afford you. How can I afford a legal service? Paying in advance. Let's start from a small business perspective.
Yeah, we are not, and when I say we, I mean my firm. We are not oblivious to the injustices and the difficult challenges that people in our society face. And sure, we've got some great clients. We've got some, what one would call your big clients. But we know that we have a duty to play towards uplifting our society as well. And the amount of companies that I've had to deal with, including individuals that I've had to accommodate outside of my normal hourly rate, that I would charge, they are countless. And maybe you can put my number down. He's going to put my firm down here. Then maybe you can contact us if you're a small
Yeah,
business.
actually, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
And so look, we will always try and find ways to accommodate and see what we can do to assist these smaller businesses, because you might be a small business today, but you're not going to be a small business tomorrow.
But
and
assure me here, you will structure up finances and accommodate what I can afford at this particular juncture.
Of course, and it's not something that I would want to say to you, no, I'm going to do it now because I've given Bongani an undertaking. It's something that I've been doing for years now.
Then I'm happy.
And it's a well-established firm. We've got about, how many partners? Maybe about 8-9 partners. We've got countless number of practicing lawyers. Our systems are in place. So we are well capacitated to meet the needs of small businesses and individuals as well.
Now let's go to the individuals now.
Yeah.
I want to I want to pay you guys as an individual, not as a small business. Even then, you will structure up something for me.
Yeah. Come, let's talk Bongani.
So, okay, it's fine.
How much money do you have? How much is YouTube paying
I'm
you?
asking for my friends out there and for myself. But it's also, guys, it's very important to have a lawyer. I've grown to appreciate this. It is very important to have a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking along those lines. Somebody might have came to a realization that these people are important. So how can I afford them for rainy days? That's where you come in.
Yeah.
And that's where that's why your numbers have got to be displayed. Guys, please trouble this man. I want to hear that he's got more phone calls.
Batshele phela Bongani ukuthi and the big businesses must also phone me phela kungabi nje.
Oh yes, yes. That's a good one. That's a good one. But then, fine. Actually, I have a lot of questions that I would have loved to ask you, but time does not allow me. Okay. So let me rather dedicate this episode to what we have been dealing with. Okay. When we get time, we will then look at I've got some of the questions coming from what I've been observing from the Senzo Meyiwa case.
I see you're very interested in the case. Are you going to study for Ilokuzane after this a law degree as well?
A lot of people are saying that, but I don't know if I'm called. Because I'm one person who says, never do something because it's exciting. Do something because you are called. So let me clarify this issue of calling, guys. A doctor is called. A pastor is called. A social worker is called. I think people who are called tends to function better in their lane than people who are there because of excitement, because it pays better. There are people who are doctors, but they don't enjoy being a doctor today. Why? Because you are in the wrong lane. You were never called to be in that lane to begin with. Chances are you were a farmer. You would have been best if you were practicing as a farmer. So I was people recommended me to be a pastor, and I said, man, I was supposed to study this theology thing. And I said, I'm not sure if I'm called. You understand? It's easy. You can go there, get the qualification, but am I called?
No, it's an interesting take.
Thank you very much. But okay, it's fine. So a person is sitting at home. They've made a decision. They want to be a lawyer, right? What is your advice to this person let's start with the person who is somewhere grade 11, 10. What's your advice? Preparing for that career.
Mindset baluleke kakhulu, and that's what I would say to the young people. Be very intentional and selfish about your future, your associations. If you want to become a lawyer, start thinking like a lawyer, start acting like a lawyer, start surrounding yourself with people that will put you on the direction that will assist you and propel you towards becoming a lawyer. Mentorship enye futhi into ebaluleke kakhulu that many people do not take much into account, but not really. Ukuthi maybe abantu do not take it into account. A problem that we have, especially tina abantu ne we are not exposed in fact, and mhlambe it's starting to change kancane kancane, but we are not exposed. Like I'll tell you manje, back in the day when I studied the law, and ngaze ngibuya ngimncane but ngimdala bafethu ngimdala kakhulu.
In fact, I wanted to ask you
Don't
that,
ask me
but
how old
no, no,
I
no,
am.
no. No. We'll come back to this one back in the days because there's something interesting attached to that. But
Okay.
continue.
So I did not have access to people that were lawyers, not around me, not within my family. And maybe the closest I would have had is people Nkonza Bengonzweni. And I could think of one lady who was very helpful, by the way. But when you look at
Can we
our,
give her a props in this video?
like
If we are
Mfana,
not, if we are allowed to.
yeah, we are.
Let's
we
give
are.
her props.
She's an amazing lady. Sese Dube was a KZN. I think she practiced. She was part of the big firms for a while, and then went the company secretarial route, and then later on, I think she became an advisor to one of the ministers. I should actually phone her and just see after the elections to find out if she's still safe. But yeah, no, she was an amazing lady. She motivated me, and she allowed me a little bit of some access into the legal fraternity,
Okay,
and she played a huge role. But our counterparts, abelungu mfethu, they come from these families, and they've got resources at their disposal galore. They already know the different types of degrees. They already know what modules they are supposed to focus on. They already know there's something called a VEC that you must apply for. And they have mentors from a very early age. Deals are not entered into a boardroom. No. Deals are concluded in the boardroom, but they start somewhere else.
I agree.
Including,
I agree.
including career aspirations. Mentorship is such a big thing. And I would say to young people, try and surround yourself with mentors. Find people that are already in the field and bother them. Go by speeds. And it's up to you as the mentee to keep me, keep coming after me and say, let's come, let's talk. Can you please make some time for me? Can I come through and job shadow you? Can I come through for VEC work? I do that a lot, man. I've got a group of young people. They know now June is coming up. From the 18th of June, I have someone coming in, and I try my best. Sometimes I'm not responsive because I'm busy, but be on their back. Try and understand, how did you make it? What are the different things? This is what I'm currently struggling with, the facility. Can you please give me assistance? How does this thing work? Mentorship is very, very important. And then once you are in varsity, say now you've left grade 11, grade 12, now you enter into varsity, I need you to excel, Muntomusha. I need you to excel. Average, get a proper average. I'd say that aim for nothing less than 70% as an average. Why? Because the legal fraternity is currently saturated. There are many, many people, and there are very little lucrative law firms. They can only take in a number of people. And i-CV yako is going to be what helps you to knock on those doors. Let that speak for you. Let your marks speak for you. If I'm going to say a 40%, 50% average, and yet there's someone else that I'm seated with there, who's got an 80% average, chances are high that I'm going to hire them. So you can go ahead and complain and say, no, there are no jobs and there are no what. But focus. Ngiyazi kumnandi varsity. Aykumnandi kakhulu mfethu varsity. Ziyabuya. There's a lot of distractions, but yeah.
Somebody once said, if your girlfriend passes the university stage without her giving you much problems, just marry her after university.
No, that person must be given a Nobel Peace Award or something like that. So focus. And you can only focus if you are intentional about your future. And I know most of our viewers are going to be people just like you and me. We know where we are coming from, Bafetsu, and we know where we want to be. So let's start working selfishly to where we want to be and work hard. This thing, I'm a shortcut and what's on. Let's park it a little bit. Deprive yourself. And I'm not saying have a balanced life, but deprive yourself some of the things, that will cause you to lose focus when you are still in high school and when you are in matric. Trust me, you are going to have sufficient time afterwards to engage and indulge in these things.
Like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Tell me something. You said you spoke about something age in your time. You know what I'm saying? There's something. You look young, and you said you are a partner. So I don't understand the word partner. Does it mean that you are in partnership?
Yeah.
You own that legal firm with those people.
Yeah.
So in other words, you've got your. You know what I'm saying? You can. So if that's the case, then I'm looking at your age. I'm like, how is it that you get to own a legal firm
Yeah.
at your age? If I may ask, how old are you? Where the interest is to say, at this age, this person is already a partner, is already a, you know what I'm saying? How
Yes.
old are you?
Yeah.
That's the interest.
I'll tell you, Bogani, I'm 30. And how it came about, like I say, hard work. Ne? The firm that I'm in, I mean, that firm has been in operation for a very, very long while. I'm the youngest partner in that firm. And not that I take pride in it, because some people think it's an accolade to become the first African director or partner or what's or not. Yes.
I was the first one at the age of 20 something.
That really doesn't make. I'm not. My goal in life is not to become the first black what. My goal in life is to, achieve economic emancipation for myself and ensure that I create an environment for others like me as well to find themselves. If I can shape your mind as well to work hard and we occupy these spaces, because it's not.
At the age of 30, you're already a partner.
And I became a partner at was it? Yeah, it was at the age of 28, just before 28 or turning 29. Yeah. And so what I did is I did articles in that same firm, worked very, very hard, had the spirit of learning. It's not an easy thing. Had to learn, had to operate in a new environment, different environment from varsity altogether. I'm dealing with people's monies. I'm dealing with people's lives here, manje. But I had the right team. I had the right mentors. I had the people with the requisite experience that I'm still learning from even today. The fact that I'm a partner does not mean that I've made it in life. I'm still learning a great deal.
Wait, explain to me this thing of you being a partner. Does it mean that they saw you working extremely hard?
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what? In this company, we are offering you 10% shares.
Yeah. So that's how it works. So what happens, you are a candidate attorney, that's 2 years. And then you become a junior associate. So that's if, people are impressed with your work ethic, how you handle clients and, how you deal with legal matters. And they feel, no, there's potential for growth. You're going to be an asset, not only to the firm, but to the legal fraternity as a whole. They retain you as an attorney, junior associate. So I was retained as a junior associate, and the following year I was promoted to associate. Then the following year, senior associate, and then from senior associate, then I became partner. So that's when you then get offered, you still go through processes, especially before you become a partner, because at that point in time, you must be seen to have matured ingqondo yakho, how you handle people, how you handle a team, how you handle your legal work, how you are bringing in business into the firm, even from a strategy point of view, can you contribute into this firm's growth moving forward and what's or not. Then the partners, they bring you in and you undergo, and in an environment where you've already been practicing as an attorney now for a couple of years, you have to go and sit before the board. And you get interviewed rigorously. You get asked uncomfortable questions. Your numbers are questioned. How you run your practice is questioned, and what's or not. So you go through that rigorous interview process, because when you are becoming partner, like you were saying, you are now owning this thing. You are now running with this thing. So we expect you to be accountable. We expect you to grow this thing and take it further. So those are the type of
Sounds
things
fair
that you
to
go
me,
into.
though, because I love this idea of judging people based on their capabilities, not just look at you and feel like I like you and therefore I must be in this position.
Yeah, of course.
To
we
me, I
can't
always say,
operate like that,
convince me with your capabilities. Even if you are my family member, convince me through your capabilities.
Yeah.
Then we've got an argument after that. Oh, we've got a conversation after that. So I like it. Sounds very fair, guys. Please, I can't give you this episode. So much juicy. Yet you're not subscribed. Guys, come on, come on, come on. Mind you, subscribing is free of charge. So come on. But anyway, in you've got 3 minutes. Tell me anything that I did not ask you, which you think it's valuable. I'm not going to ask you the questions that I was supposed to ask you. Time does not allow.
Look, I would say to young people out there.
Sorry to interject you. I said it's a question I was supposed to ask you. No, some of the questions I intended to ask you.
Okay, all right. I say, we can deal with those next time. So, all I'm going to say to the people that are listening out there, especially the young people, I know that there are many other people that might be wanting to enter into this profession. Let's not be inspired by selfish motives to enter into this profession. The legal profession is an empowering profession. It is a profession that sets you apart in the sense that it comes with a lot of power because you hold the abilities to make differences in people's lives. And you can either make good differences or you can further exacerbate the difficulties that the people are already facing. And there's already been a few concerns about the legal practice and, the lawyers behaving in a certain way and what's not. I want to encourage young people that are looking to enter into this profession that have the right reasons for it. Don't put your ethics aside. Don't put your principles aside. Don't put your integrity aside. And don't for a second think that for you to be a successful lawyer, you must be unethical. Don't think for a second that for you to be a successful lawyer, you must not have, integrity or high standards of integrity. There is no such thing. In fact, that is what not only the legal profession is looking for, but numerous other professions out there in corporate. We are looking for ethical leaders. We are looking for responsible citizens, people that are not, cut off from the difficulties that our people are facing. And there's a lot of power and change that one can bring and carry out, when you become a legal practitioner. And it is very rewarding. It requires a lot of hard work. It is not what you see in people standing in court in the series that you watch and suits and what's or not. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of long hours. There's a lot of dedication. But all of it is worth it at the end of the day. And you will realize it when you make a difference in people's lives. And those are the type of lawyers that we are looking to get. Don't put hard work aside. Work very, very hard. You will not start working hard when you become a lawyer and you are admitted. The hard work starts where you are right now. Start thinking hard and work hard towards your goals and your visions.
Use the word, it's very rewarding. But you also put the word in the same sentence, hard work.
Yeah.
Let's start with the rewarding part. What do you mean it's very rewarding?
It's holistically rewarding, Bongani, in the sense, I've been involved in very high prominent matters, and I've also been involved in matters that would not see the light of day on the front cover of newspapers. But I know that there is a granny that has gone home, sleeping peacefully because I've made a difference in the legal dispute that they were having with one or other person that was looking to take advantage of them, or some person who was wrongfully convicted for something that they didn't do, and then I came in and made a difference. So that difference might not be seen in my bank account, at month end in monetary value, but to sleep well at night, knowing that there's a woman there that was being abused. There's a child now, that I'm talking to who's going to use this information. Just this exercise alone, if I wasn't a lawyer, I would not be able to have this discussion with you where I impart knowledge to a young person who's going to come out of poverty because of something that I've shared. So that's the one side of rewarding. And then it is also financially rewarding. I won't lie, we charge for what we do, and we render quality legal services. And I speak for myself, my partners are the people that are under me. We deliver quality legal services, and we get paid for those quality legal services that we deliver in an ethical manner, and we get paid for that. That's rewarding because now I'm able to pay my bond, I'm able to take care of my family, I'm able to participate in various social initiatives that I'm a part of. So that's also another rewarding part.
Okay, I want to catch you now. I want to ask you this one. In your parting words, right? You will advise one to look to follow your path, right? That's what I'm hearing. After everything, you will still advise somebody to be a lawyer.
I'm going to go to what you said and say, if you have the calling, go for it.
Can you promise me part 2 on record? I know you're busy. Can you promise me part 2 on record?
I don't want to do that. I know it's been how many years and months you're trying to get me here, and I was
Can you promise me part 2 on record?
without giving you a date.
Yes.
I would never say no to coming back, but I will not guarantee you that on this date, on this
You
month.
heard him.
But I'll
You heard him.
certainly-
He said yes. Thank you very much, guys. Till the next episode, kindly take care.